That's a sign of leadership. When I look to this majority in this House, I can't point to one problem that we have solved. And to the idea that we would leave while others are going through disasters. And just last night, we watched, and my thoughts and prayers go out to those in Missouri in this devastating tornado. I think the one thing that should not be partisan, that we should make sure this government is there for them in their time of need. And we should be continuing to work forward. I have a real concern with what transpired on the floor this week. It's the same thing we watched that happened last week. There are moments in time that I believe all America becomes proud of this House. Those moments in those committees where we find every Republican and every Democrat who find common ground. We watched that before in Energy and Commerce, where we looked to ways that we could lower drug prices. We found 3 bills that would give America more options, lower the actual cost of prescription drugs, and it passed committee unanimously. Before it got to committee, this Democrat majority leadership changed the bill, put a poison pill in it, which will never become law. Today, we just witnessed something very similar. Ways and Means Committee worked together to find common ground when it came to pensions and others. Every Republican and every Democrat voted for it. But the special interest actually won out. They changed the bill before it came to the floor. We all are familiar with 529 accounts that allow us to save money for our kids' college. But it also allows you to do more. Pay for the books, pay for the college exams in the new version. It would also help if you have a child with disability. But the special interest decided that was wrong. The special interest decided that should be removed from the bill. I'm not sure why the Speaker would treat the chairman of Ways and Means that way, or the whole committee itself, when they found a moment of time that they could all come together. But as I've said before, this is not the same Democratic Party we found in the past. This has become a new socialist Democratic Party. And there's 3 things I learned from this, of allowing this special interest, to remove the idea that you could not help your own children be able to save for your education. The Democrats want institutions, not individuals, be the focus of their education funding. They want partisan interest and not parents to decide how children learn. And they want the federal government, not families, to have control over their money. Now, when I watch the leadership of this new Socialist Democratic Party, some things really concern me. If we're serious about solving problems, I think the actions of the Speaker were irresponsible. You've had on scheduled for a number of weeks to have a follow-up meeting with the President, to talk about infrastructure, to actually come to a solution. But what do you do right before the meeting? You schedule a special conference of the majority to talk about impeachment. You walk out to the microphones before and you claim the President is covering something up. In that same day, the Speaker questioned all Republicans' oath to the Constitution. This is irresponsible. This is not a way to govern. The Speaker and I will disagree philosophically, but I would never question her oath. And the idea that how long and how many years we've gone through the investigation, it's time to put that aside. But even something as easy that unites Republicans and Democrats of helping parents direct their own children's education, don't we all believe that education is the great equalizer, regardless of where you come from, give everybody an opportunity? But they chose special interest over all the members in the committee who agreed. To me, that was irresponsible as well. We can do better, and the first action we should take to show we could do better, we should call the House back in. We should stay here, finish the supplemental disaster, and show the American public that we can govern. It shouldn't be leaving this weekend. Open up for questions. Yes, Chad.
Thank you. Do you think the actions of the President, the way he comported himself, that was presidential yesterday? Conduct a meeting like that?
I think the actions of the Speaker to call a special meeting. They did not have a conference that day. It's not scheduled during that day. She put out a notice to all members to notify them to come to talk about impeachment. She walked before the microphones and claimed something that we just spent years showing that is not true. Does she have some information that Mueller did not have? That all the FBI agents did not find? from the hundreds of witnesses they went through. This is the same action we found that Adam Schiff lying to the American public for 2 years. The idea as a Speaker of the United States Congress would walk out and claim something that was not true right before she walks to meet with the president, to me, that's irresponsible.
The president's conduct, I mean, even if that did get under his skin, regardless of the motives of the speaker, he's the president. Shouldn't he comport himself better and try to actually get an agreement on important issues like infrastructure?
I think the president has been working on infrastructure. He just had a meeting with all the Democrats. He said, yes, let's do an infrastructure bill. He said, come back, let's have that other meeting. He did nothing different except exactly what he said he would do, that he would meet and he would come to a solution. It was the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who called a special meeting of the entire majority of her party to meet just about impeachment on a grounds we cannot find, and to walk to a microphone and claim something that is not true by a Speaker of the United States Congress, that's irresponsible. Yes.
Do you agree that the president shouldn't be working on infrastructure and other bipartisan bills while Democrats are investigating?
Look, I know what the president is focused on and wanting to do, and what the president is really want to focus on is get USMCA. Think for one moment what the criteria of what people laid out to actually vote for the USMCA. The president negotiated with Canada and Mexico and came to an agreement. He met with both sides of the House. There was ideas of what people said they need done. Democrats laid out something almost impossible for the president to do. They asked that Mexico would change their own labor laws, something that the president doesn't have a vote in or the ability to do. And you know what happened? That took place. They also requested that the president take away the steel tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Those two milestones have been set. So I think the president has done a lot. Let's make the economy stronger. We're in an economy that's been our strongest in the last 50 years. We can even be stronger.
Do you think Congress is broken if they can't even get a disaster aid deal done?
I have real concerns about this new Democrat Socialist Party. The idea that they change bills that leadership picks and changing them after they come out of committee unanimously, I cannot name me one problem they have solved. Name me one item that they've focused on. The one item they focused on is the impeachment of the president, even when the facts aren't there. And it even comes down to the fact, if you watch Chairman Nadler, when he was running to become chairman, you know what was in his campaign platform to all the Democrats to vote for him? That he would be the best chairman for impeachment. That's what he put to and sent to all the Democratic members of why they should vote for him for chairman. Well, you know what? We're beyond that. The Mueller report answered that question, and we should move on. I think the majority is broken if they cannot govern.
The Republican Study Committee is circulating talking points regarding the Alabama abortion law.
I haven't seen them yet.
Urging their members to support the law without the exemptions for rape and incest. They say that committing a second violent act with abortion to a woman who has already been victimized by an act of rape or incest could physically or psychologically wound her further. Do you agree with that characterization?
I haven't read any of those talking points, so I have not seen that. I mean, I think I've been very clear in my position. My position happens to be the same as Ronald Reagan, the same as President Trump. I believe in the exemption. I'm pro-life. I think the most precious gift God gives us is life. That is what I've been voting on, and that's what I've been fighting for. I am also concerned about what I see on the other side. The idea that a child survives an abortion. What would the Democrats want to have happen? That that child die, the infanticide of it. The idea that New York has actually moved there. The governor of Virginia has said that. We have a discharge petition sitting in the House. That is the one mechanism that if you got 218 votes or 218 signatures, you could have a vote on the floor to stop that. I wouldn't think in this country today that we'd even have to have that vote, but we do. Today marks the 50th day on this floor that we've asked for unanimous consent to bring that bill up, to protect that child that they survived an abortion, that they can still live. That, to me, is concerning.
Your members.
Yes. Yes.
House Judiciary passed yesterday two immigration bills, Dream and Promise, and it's slated for the floor vote in June. Are you going to instruct your conference to vote one way or another on those?
I haven't seen the bills. Our conference will look at them and walk through. We believe we have a very big crisis. I believe all of America understands we have a crisis on the border. Even the New York Times wrote an editorial about the crisis on the border. The only individuals in this country who do not believe we have a crisis on the border happen to be those Democrats serving in Congress. Maybe one of the parts of the hangup of getting the disaster bill is making sure the funding for part of what individuals is happening along this border today, the crisis. The New York Times even said that funding should come forward. But again, the Democrats have withheld the ability to make that happen.
Do you believe the basic idea of the DREAM Act of, protecting dreamers or giving them a path to?
I believe our overall immigration system is broken, and that's why last Congress, we brought two different immigration bills to the floor, but not one Democrat voted for them. This is a problem. We got to secure our border. We got to solve the challenge and make sure this land is a land of immigrants and continues to be that. And I think it'll be an overall bill that immigration reform we can get done. Yes.
McCarthy, you know the president well. Pelosi was just saying that the president wants the House to impeach him because they fumble it and it could benefit politically. Is that something that sounds plausible to you, or is that in fact the president's goal here?
I think that's irresponsible of the speaker to even say. Remember what office she has. Remember what position the speaker is in the line to become president. To have that kind of conversation is irresponsible. She knows better than that. She knows the president does not want that. She knows the president wanted to work on an infrastructure bill, wants to make this economy continue to be strong. The president didn't have a meeting of a bunch of members of Congress to talk about impeachment. The speaker did. The president didn't go to a microphone and claim that Speaker Pelosi was covering something up. The speaker did. So for the idea to continue to say that to the American public is irresponsible. Yes?
Would there have been support for an infrastructure package? I mean, have that discussion moved forward on your side of the aisle?
Well, we'd see what the plan would be, but there's a desire to do infrastructure. I just continue to be amazed at this new Socialist Democratic Party, that even when you have both sides agree in committee unanimously, the leadership makes sure that is not the bill that hits the floor. Just like when prescription drugs, when we all agreed, where the prices would come down, the options would be greater, they put a poison pill in it. Just like we agreed in Ways and Means, every Republican and every Democrat, that every parent could be able to save money, even if you have a disabled child, to help along with their education, K through 12, if you're homeschooled or others. But the special interests said no to that, and they removed the bill. They removed that portion of the bill. So I question that if this leadership ever even wants to solve a problem. I wish you all a very good Memorial Day, and please remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Thank you.
Save the tax